I grew up without Wi-Fi.
I grew up without privacy.
We didn't talk about mental health.
We post about it daily.
We met people in real life.
We spy. Two generations, one mic, no filter. Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Across the Gap. And I have,
Mama Yeti.
and I'm Tanika. And today we are going to be discussing about,
Gentle parenting.
okay, you can see that she's very into it. Gentle
parenting.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about gentle parenting, and I guess we should really try and understand what this gentle parenting is about. So everybody's talking about gentle parenting, counting 1, 2, 3 before speaking, all those kind of things. But like me, I'm not a parent, so me I cannot really say, oh, gentle parenting. But my mother here can be.
Well,
Enlighten us more about this.
well, I think what people term gentle parenting as, giving your children, number one, no physical, not being physical with your child. That means no beating, no slapping, just not being physical with your child. That if your child is unruly, you give them time out, you take away their toys, and or you talk to them and you explain things to them. And along the line, I thought it was I actually thought it was a good concept, but I think over time we've realized, yes, over time, because I didn't grow up in the era of gentle parenting, and I'm not talking of just parents. I'm talking of teachers. I'm talking of neighbors, because in the way I grew up, the term um, um, spare the rod, spoil the child was always paramount.
I grew up too.
Yeah, yes, that's the way I brought my children up. But then I didn't. It wasn't a case of spare the rod, spoil the child. I also had a principle that I wouldn't just beat. I wasn't just punish you. Let me not say beat. I wouldn't just punish you physically without you doing something that was really, really, really wrong. And even after you've done that thing, I would call you. I will call you and ask you,
what did you do wrong?
What did you do wrong? Mommy didn't just beat you for mommy didn't punish you for the fun of punishing you. There was a reason why mommy punished you. So can you please tell me why mommy punished you? Because you have to know why I punished you. Otherwise, what's the point of me punishing you if you really don't know? But I think
do you think gentle parenting is more healing or more harmful?
In today's society, I think gentle parenting has become more harmful because you find out there's a lot of unruly children that don't listen to their parents, and we find out that unruly children that don't listen to their parents down, as they grow older, that kind of behavior continues and it gets worse, and then it spirals out of control into so many different aspects of their lives.
I understand what you're saying, but there are children that were not in any form, because they went through that gentle parenting and they came out okay. They are not unruly. They are not any form of anything. They're just very disciplined.
And there are children that went through punishment and they were not traumatized and they came out okay. So I think
when you say traumatized, they are not traumatized. I think I'm not going to generalize it, but in Nigeria, children that went that went through proper punishment in terms of flogging with belt, flogging with slippers, flogging with the nearest thing closest to you by parents. They are traumatized, but because we have normalized it, it's not seen as a trauma. It's just seen as all of those that you
No,
go
I
through.
agree with you. I agree with you. There's always a bad side of certain things. You go to the extreme, just like in gentle parenting, you can go to the extreme, and just like in punishing your child, you can go to the extreme. There's always the extreme of things, and sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to find that that level ground where you're not spoiling the child and you're not punishing the child too much, because sometimes you can drop the ball when it comes to gentle parenting, and you don't want to do that. And also, you can traumatize your child if you're too angry and your reaction time is just like that. Your child does something wrong and immediately you punish the child. I don't
Mm.
think that is the best way to go. But then that is in some cases that is what happened. You know, even in those my age, we went to boarding school and we had teachers that were you know I would call them that they were abusers. They abused their position,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, I think yes, a lot of children were traumatized, even in secondary school where you have this thing of hierarchy of senior and junior, which is also part of um, discipline.
Discipline too.
Yeah, I think all that one too had its own faults because you found out that some students were really, really dealt the worst kind of
Yeah,
thing ever.
that's true.
And it wasn't just from students, from teachers, you know.
I feel like it's a whole like domino effect. And what I feel is that, like you said, there that two extremes. If you go too extreme in anything, it's always bad. But there's also if it's also a way that you can have both at the same time. So you can have both gentle parenting and, well, I'm going to discipline my child, I'm going to punish my child. I can have gentle parenting part of it. So there are people that actually mix the two together in terms of disciplining their child. So what I wanted to say is that because they always say gentle parenting creates more emotionally aware children,
Hmm.
and they also, or do you think so? Do they create more emotionally aware children, or do you think they create entitled, undisciplined adults?
I think with what we're seeing today, with what we are seeing today in today's environment, and I'm not just talking of Nigeria, I'm talking of worldwide, I think that it has created, gentle parenting has created a lot of entitled and um, um, emotionally
Unstable.
not unstable, but
What?
what do you call it? There's this word I'm looking for. That's children that don't have emotional intelligence. Yeah, they don't
Oh.
have emotional intelligence. They don't know how to behave in certain places. They don't know how to, and that is a problem in itself. I mean, I mean, for instance, right? We are not just talking about how they will behave, but if, for instance, um, if you balance the two, we were taught in our time, yes, that we needed to be very aggressive. I mean, not aggressive, but we need to put ourselves out there. We
Mm-hmm.
had to put ourselves out there. We needed to push ourselves, and that was part of parenting.
But I feel like because some of us, well, I'm generalizing, it's based on like my age group. We have gone through some form of PTSD from the way we were disciplined. That we are saying, okay, we don't want to discipline our children the way we were disciplined. So we want to go through, want to use another approach of disciplining our children, which is now the gentle parenting.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But you see, what you went through, what people went through, but I mean, when you're saying what you went through, I don't think I was that um
But he beat us,
physical.
Sha. He beat us.
Yeah,
That's he beat us.
but the thing is that what did I beat you for?
You just beat us.
For the fun of it?
No, no, no. Oh, nobody beats anyone. Like you won't beat your child for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You beat your child because they've done something wrong.
And the reason
Either
why
you slap us or you beat us.
yeah, and I actually bought canes to
Wooden
spank them in.
spoon,
Yes, because and
stick.
I would advise you. I wouldn't beat you almost immediately. I will ask you. I will tell you that you're not behaving the way you should behave. I've warned you the first time. I've warned you the second time, and then and I'll warn you the third time.
Excuse the noise that's happening with digestive client. Continue.
You know, I warned you the third time, and you're still not behaving yourself. And then I will tell you to bring out your hand, and I will ask you that what do you think this behavior that you have not done? How many strokes of the cane do you think you deserve? And I wait for you to tell me how many times I should beat you. And her brother used to say two, and I would double it. I would say four, you know. But you see, that to me is not something that would cause trauma because you knew you were being unruly.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying now is you're thinking from the aspect of you just used to just kill us based on people that would just come from nowhere and just hit their children plenty slaps. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm
Some
saying.
of them
That is the extreme now, Tunika.
that's
That is
the
the
extreme.
extreme.
Exactly, that's the
Uh-huh.
extreme.
And their parents. I mean, I went through. I mean, my dad was of real old school.
Mm.
You know, spare the rod, spoil the child. Children should be seen and not heard. So you don't. I mean, you don't make noise where it is because if you make too much noise, it's going to get. But then I didn't feel that I was traumatized by this chastisement because he
Mm.
did it. I mean, there's a way you can chastise your child out of love,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there are ways you can chastise your child because you're just a mean person,
Sure,
right?
sure, sure.
And my dad chastised us, but I know that he chastised me because it was done out of love. He wasn't a mean person, you know. But and I'm not a mean person. I listen to my children. I actually have a very good relationship with my children, with compared to some other parents. But then I don't believe in unruly behavior. I believe that a child should, when a mother or a father speaks to that child should listen. And I've seen that over time, because of gentle parenting, oh, I was traumatized. Therefore, I'm not going to beat my child. And when my child misbehaves, I will send my child to the naughty corner. And it has brought, we have gotten children now that are not emotionally intelligent. They don't know how to go for what they want.
I understand what you're saying. So basically, what you're trying to say is that there are good sides to gentle parenting and there are bad sides to gentle parenting.
There's good side to gentle parenting. There's bad side to gentle parenting. And there's a good side to being
You're punishing your child
when your child does something wrong.
Yeah.
And then there's the bad side too, you know. But if you can merge in the middle,
Yeah.
and find that middle ground, that you find out that your child will not embarrass you outside. I've gone to ShopRite many a times, and you see some children that their parents their parents are exhausted. Their parents are exhausted because the child is having a tantrum over and over again. And the parent keeps on saying, stop it, stop it. And the child is just not listening. I've seen some parents walk away from their children while the child is having a tantrum because they're exasperated.
Yeah, so just leave them there. When they're ready, they'll come and join.
But you see, you don't want that. That I don't know. Maybe nowadays people have we develop a thick skin, and we see children misbehaving. It's not anything. But I mean, we've seen a lot of children this gentle parenting and the kind of children we now have that, especially abroad.
Should we give a scenario like the video you watched that was talking about gentle parenting is no like is disciplining your child like what was it again? Disciplining your child in different from abroad and Nigeria. Like are children more disciplined in
Oh yes,
abroad than in
yes, because
Nigeria,
there was a video I watched where some parents, Nigerian parents who had unruly children abroad, sent their children back to Nigeria to school, right? And it was people saw it as being very drastic. But then I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen over and over again. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I know that some of the children that come back to Nigeria, they're told they're coming back. They're coming to school here, and
not all the time.
yeah, sometimes and
it's
sometimes,
holiday and they never go back.
Yeah, and that to me, right? Sometimes you find that that is the only option you have, and if you talk to some of those children that came back to Nigeria, they went through. I mean, what some will say trauma. But at the end of the day, they turned out all right.
And they enjoyed their stay.
And they enjoyed their stay in Nigeria. Now, and then when they went back, some of the friends that they left, some of them are in prison. Some of them didn't finish school. I mean, those are the kind of things that you weigh. I know that, yes, people think that Africans are a bit strict. You know, Africans, Asians,
conservative, strict.
Africans, Asians, you know, we have a certain code.
Hard on our children.
We have certain codes of behavior. But then at the end of the day, it seems to work for us. So I don't know. Because, I mean, I've seen children abroad that are rude, that are violent, and they're kids. They're 14, 15, 13-year-olds. And I can't understand why. And I think it's gentle parenting or the system that didn't allow you to, you know, what they call corporal punishment.
Yeah, they didn't allow you can't hit your child.
Yes, you can't hit your child.
That was proper gentle parenting because you can't hit your child. You can't do any form of because they'll report you and they'll come and take your child from you.
You know, so at the end of the day, we need to balance it. I think you need to balance how you bring up your children. You know, you can't flog them until they're almost dying, you know, but then you can't leave them. You can't say, oh, go and stand in the corner, you know, even though at times we had in Nigeria, we have our own punishments. Like we don't say go and stand in the corner. We say, oh yeah, put your finger on.
That's true. Secondary school. Oh my God.
Yes.
Bicycle.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Ride a bicycle. You're on the wall, sitting on the wall. So you're sitting down. Your back is against the wall. Your hand is like this.
Okay.
And your legs are like a right angle.
Yes, right angle. And you're sitting.
And you're sitting with your hands. Bicycle. So go and ride the bicycle. You be like, what? You're like,
see that one, right?
All right.
That one.
And you'll be there for like an hour. Nobody is exercising.
Nobody has punished. Nobody has beaten you, but they've sent you to the wall to do what they call an exercise.
You're done. Your hand, your legs.
To strengthen your legs.
You feel it. You'll be able to. work properly at least for 2 days.
So those are the kind. I mean, we had things like that were cultural. So I don't know. I don't know about this gentle parenting. I don't understand it, and
I feel like our generation is just trying to do something new. We're trying to just do something that is different from what we're used to or what we know. And I feel gentle parenting might not work fully, but there's a gray area to everything. I feel like gentle parenting might not work fully, but there are still some situations where gentle parenting will work, and there's some times when we just need to actually discipline the child. That's just it. So
yeah.
I want to ask you one question. If you could go back
Hmm.
in time,
Yeah.
would you incorporate gentle parenting? Like, will you cultivate that gentle parenting approach?
But okay.
Or would you stick to we got to discipline this child?
Okay, let me put it
No
this way.
punishments.
Like for instance, right? Like I said, when you were growing up, you did something wrong, and you were at the age when you know when. I mean, you're at the age when you know what you're doing is wrong, right? You were willfully wrong, and I caution you the first time,
Okay.
and I said, don't do it again.
Okay, yeah, we got like 3 chances.
And then, like for instance, right? There's one thing I don't like, and I don't like my children lying to me. You know, bold face lying. I don't like it. And if I know you've done something, and I call you and I say, what happened? And you tell me a lie. And I'll look at you and I'll say, are you telling me the truth? And you say, yes, mommy, I'm telling you the truth. I'll say, oh yeah, let's tell me the story again. And you tell me the story again. And you still lie.
Mm, mm.
And I ask you again, and you're still lying to me. That in itself is you're being willful because you know that I know that you're lying, and I don't, I never, I don't slap, I don't beat, I don't, you know, I have a cane and I'll bring out the cane and once you see the cane, and I'll say, you have been lying to me. I've been asked you 3 times, you've lied to me.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to punish you and I'm going to hit you on your hands. I'll tell you, bring out your hand, and you bring out both your hands, and I'll say, how many do you want for this lie?
So that means you're trying to say that you did gentle parenting.
I think it was gentle parenting because I gave you 3 times to tell me the truth, right?
So if I told you the truth, it's just that you're not with
No,
us.
even if you had told me the truth,
You'll still be
right?
us.
If you had told me the truth, and the truth was not a bad thing, then I wouldn't. Okay, for instance, right? You're playing football, and somebody breaks something. You kick the ball, and the ball breaks something, and it's not in my house. Maybe it's in a neighbor's house, and the neighbor comes to complain, and I beg the neighbor, and I ask what happened, and you lied to me 3 times. I said, no, 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 no. It wasn't me. It wasn't us that kicked the ball. They didn't know it. It was. I'm looking at you, and I know that you know that I know you kicked the ball. you know, of course I would thank you for lying to me.
Mm.
But if at the time, right, you tell me the truth, oh mommy, yes, we were doing this and I'm the one that kicked the ball and they broke this thing. I'll say, okay, come. And I will carry you to the person and you go and apologize.
Okay.
I will not beat you for telling me the truth. Why would I beat you for telling me the truth? Even if it was the wrong thing you did, I will now educate you. But if you lie, if you're deceitful, if you are um, if you are unruly,
You're the kings.
I mean, there was one incident, I will never forget this incident, right? I think my daughter and not you, my eldest daughter and her immediate junior brother, they had an argument. And I mean, they were arguing amongst themselves. I wasn't involved. I didn't even know what the argument was all about. We were sitting down, and I didn't know that my son was really, really angry inside of him, and he had a mug with him, and inside the mug, thank God, it was Fanta, cold Fanta. And as he stood up out of his anger, and he walked out of the door, he threw the contents into his sister's face. Now, what would
Ah,
I do?
how old are they? How old are they?
They were in secondary school.
Really?
They were about yes, they were not secondary school. They were in primary school. Yeah, she just entered secondary school, and he was still in primary school.
Oh,
And
first time
I
hearing
looked at
this.
myself and I said, now, if that had been hot tea, I shouldn't punish him. I should tell him to go and stand by the wall. I punished him because it was the wrong thing to do, and he did it out of anger, and it was. I couldn't that one. That one I can't do gentle parenting in that. So I called him. He apologized to his sister, and I said, "Oh yeah, bring out your hand because what you've done is a violent act, and you will not be violent in my house." It could have been hot water, it could have been hot tea, it could have been hot chocolate, and it would have scarred her for life. So sometimes you have to weigh where gentle parenting will work and where gentle parenting will not work. But I still believe spare the rod, spoil the child.
Hmm.
I still believe in it.
You've heard it here. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yep, I agree with you actually. Me, I'm not a parent, so I cannot really weigh into it as much. But from what I've seen so far, gentle parenting has its ups and downs, and like you said, a mix of both is very important. So yeah, and I think I've given your 2 cents already. Spread the word about the child. If you've gotten all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching up until the end of this video. And don't forget to what? To like, subscribe, and
Comment.
yes,
Yes.
what should they leave in the comments?
Whether well, I don't, what do you agree with gentle parenting or you don't, and why? And then also, if you have had any experiences with
PTSDs.
with trauma because
PTSDs.
well, it, yeah, PTSD because you were assaulted, because I wouldn't call it um, um,
Discipline
um,
or punished.
punishment. I would call it assault.
Assault.
And it's not
Battery.
and it's not just assault from maybe your parents, from your teachers, even in school, your seniors in school. Let's hear about them, and let's hear how you've been able to overcome them. And if you have been able to overcome them, or if you still have bad memories about them, and yeah, I mean, I know people that grew up with trauma and they said they would never touch their children. And unfortunately, right, they didn't. But then there are times when something really, really bad happened and they had to, use corporal punishment on their children. So there's always a right time for certain things,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So please, let's hear your comments. Engage with us. Let us know where you're seeing this from, whether you what country you're seeing this from. That would be nice. Eh, And yeah, I think this has been
Across the Gap. Thank you so much
thank you
for
for
watching.
and have a good day.
Bye.